It is that time of the year again. Welcome into sports and welcome into opening day 2023. I'm Will Hentschel. Sometimes a baseball team needs great pitching to get a win. Other times they have to lean on the bats. But for the Syracuse Mets on Mother's Day, they were spoiled for riches. 16 strikeouts and 15 hits led them to an 11-4 victory over the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. Manager Kevin Bowles said the offensive explosion was a nice change of pace. He looked phenomenal, and I think the key word for his performance today was comfortable. We've seen a few games where he's been afraid to go to the basket. He gets bounced around a lot by some of these bigger ACC teams, but today he just looked ready to go to the hoop, and he was unafraid to charge in, was looking off the glass, left side, right side, didn't matter. Jesse Edwards looked like the Jesse Edwards that we all knew in the beginning of the season, and that was confident, strong, and determined down low. There are a few things that the city of Buffalo loves more than snow, wings, and the Bills. It had all those in spades yesterday when the Bills took on the Bengals in the AFC divisional round. And unfortunately for the Mafia, Joe Burrow and crew walked away with a ticket to the AFC championship game. Jim Boeheim is no longer the coach of Syracuse University basketball after 47 years. He'll be replaced by Adrian Autry. The 51-year-old Autry played point guard at Syracuse from 1990 to 1994 and has been an assistant under Boeheim since 2011. The Orange will miss out on March Madness for their second consecutive year. Anthony, the end of an era for SU basketball. SU women's lacrosse has dominated opponents wherever it goes. From inside the JMA Dome to road trips to even Cicero North Syracuse High School. Wherever the Orange go, they came, they saw, they conquered. Now Syracuse has another opportunity to make history, beat the number 5 team in the nation, and finish the regular season undefeated for the first time ever. Chile and Nicole, there is so much anticipation here for this outdoor lacrosse game just over half an hour from opening draw control. All right, that's a lot of basketball, but unfortunately, I don't have any great news from the gridiron. Syracuse quarterback Garrett Schrader will miss the remainder of the spring practice after a successful procedure on his throwing arm, specifically his elbow. The second-year signal caller will now not participate in any spring activities that start on March 21st. It's unclear exactly when the quarterback sustained that injury that required this procedure. Schrader tallied 26 total touchdowns last season for the Orange. Putting things on ice, the Crunch hosted the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Penguins at the War Memorial the other day. Midway through the first period, it's Alex Beret-Boulay who tips home the feed from Simon Reefers, the all-time leading point scorer in Crunch, getting things going early. 5 minutes into the second period, and Rudolph Balser shelves a rolling puck in front of the cage. Nice heads-up play by him. 10 minutes later on, and how about this feed from behind the net? Lucas Edmonds blasts that one-timer past Dustin Tokarski to make it 3-1. The Penguins would get one back, but the Crunch would take the game 3-2. Syracuse has now won 5 of its last 6 games and sits at second place in the North Division. Oak Hill Country Club, located right here in Rochester, New York, is no stranger to major championship golf. It's hosted 3 United States Opens, the 1995 Ryder Cup, and now it's preparing to host its 4th PGA Championship this upcoming May. But how do you turn this golf course, located smack dab in the middle of the Rochester suburbs, and prepare it for over 200,000 spectators? It seems everywhere you look in the 97-year-old clubhouse and rolling landscape of Oak Hill, you find history. Now it's time for the famous club to host yet another major championship. Spearheading the efforts to get the property ready for the massive influx of visitors is operations manager Eric Nuxall. He says the adjustment from the last PGA Championship held here in 2013 is huge.
Obviously, with the size and scope growing from 2013 to 2023, just alone the broadcast compound has doubled. The amount of space that our vendors need have doubled based upon what we're building out there.
Nuxall and his team began work at Oak Hill back in November, laying down thousands of square feet of scaffolding and plywood to prepare the site for grandstands, merchandise tents, and special clubs. He said it was critical to get this work done early to set the course up for success in the spring.
We did about 2.5 weeks of preparation, so that included our flooring and tenting team that they built an entire structure to store equipment in throughout the winter. And that included, though, the amount of trucks that we had coming in to put all the scaffold down in really 3 primary areas. The hole 6 where the double-decker and Club PGA are, the wedge behind me right now where all of the chalets are, and then the PGA Championship shops. It's roughly, we did 70,000 square feet of scaffold alone right there. So all of that really was critical to getting us to where we need to be.
While there is still more construction to get done, Nuxall says his team is about to enter the home stretch with the tournament just weeks away.
You know, we're in this 3-week out period right now where, you know, the amount of vendors and service providers coming on site all have their scopes of work, and really by the time you get crosswalk signs and hole signs up and the rope and stake goes up, it really is transforming. And then not to mention, right, I mean, we do have the Rochester winter, you know, the great weather that we've actually had. You know, you just saw the trees blooming, the grass overnight almost went from 3 shades of green brighter that on the drive in made it that much cooler to see how it's popping.
200,000 spectators and the best golfers in the world right around the corner here in Rochester. Reporting from Oak Hill Country Club, Will Hentschel, NCC Sports. Welcome to NCC Sports. I'm Will Hentschel. When you think of elite college lacrosse rivalries, Syracuse and Princeton should be very close to the top of that list. The Tigers and Orange have played each other 29 times dating back to 1922 and have 17 national titles between the two schools. In fact, Syracuse and Princeton have played between themselves in a national championship game on 4 occasions. The stakes in New Jersey weren't nearly that high, but the Orange desperately needed their first ranked win of the year over the 15th ranked Tigers. So let's go down to the Garden State and see how these two lacrosse giants played. Gary Gait desperately trying to lead his team to its first ranked win this season, and right off the faceoff draw, it seemed to be going pretty well. Sam Alexo, the long pole right there at the bottom of the screen, finds a lane to the left-hand side and rifles home the score just 15 seconds into the first quarter, his 4th goal of the year. Now from the long pole to the attackers, Michael Leo finds Finn Thompson, who finds the goal. Freshman to freshman connection, that's Thompson's 15th of the year. Now, not to be outdone by his freshman counterparts, Joe Spallina finds the lane through some traffic and finishes. He would have 4 today. So we've seen some long pole goals. We've seen some goals from some freshmen. But how about the Lehigh transfer, Cole Kirst, with the shifty finish at the bottom of the crease? And Syracuse will take that contest. The Orange never trailed in a 16-13 win over the Tigers for the first ranked win of the season. After the game, Joey Spallina says there's really no secret formula to the Orange's success.
Definitely just been growing from game to game. You know, I don't think there's any special thing that's going on. I think we're just the world what this team can do.
Now, it won't be smooth sailing for Syracuse for the rest of the season. There are 3 ranked games to close out the calendar. That gauntlet starts with number 11 North Carolina this upcoming Saturday. And while the men notched a win in Jersey, SU women's lacrosse was at Cicero North Syracuse High School to take on Clemson. Monster Jam in the Dome, so the Orange playing a very rare outdoor home game, and Megan Tyrell makes it 4 straight goals for Syracuse in the first quarter. Syracuse was finished with 6 goals in the first. Sierra Cockrell in transition finds the pass to Emma Ward. She head fakes and shoots that one home, buries it for Ward. Now Megan Tyrell again takes this one down low, gets the low shot away, and scores again to make it 10-6 Syracuse. Emma Ward with the ball in her cradle, always a threat, goes Kareem up top. 6 goals again for SU in the third. Now here's another hero for Syracuse. Olivia Adamson had a career day. 3 goals, 4 assists, and 14 draw control wins. She gets a goal right there on the free position shot, and that is just about how it would end. 5 goals from Emma Ward, 4 from Megan Tyrell, and number 1 Syracuse women's lacrosse wins 19-10 to move to 14-0 on the season. To the diamond now, the Syracuse Mets earned a statement win on Sunday over the Rochester Red Wings, 9-1. All 9 Syracuse starter reached base, but you can really chalk this win up to Mets starting pitcher Jose Butto. 6 innings pitched, no earned runs, and 5 punch-outs. Syracuse is off on Monday, but it starts a 6-game series with Scranton on Tuesday. To the Major League Mets, top prospect and Syracuse Met alum Francesco Alvarez making the start behind the dish, and we start things off in the bottom of the second. 2 on, 1 out. Alvarez goes the other way for a well-earned and much-awaited RBI. Mark Canna scores from third. Now into the bottom of the 5th. New York down 6-1. And how about Pete Alonso dropping this one into center field, bringing in another run. That will make the score 6-2, but the Marlins just had way too much insurance in this one. Brian De La Cruz with a sac fly into center, which scores another run for Miami. That's De La Cruz's 4th RBI on the day, a really strong performance from him. And the Marlins will take that one 7-2 over the Mets. From Queens to Baltimore, the Yankees were in an AL East matchup against the Orioles. Everyone getting into the festivities on Easter Sunday, and Aaron Judge putting everyone on their feet, launching one over the head of Cedric Mullins in center field, and he just pokes that one for a go-ahead homer. 2-0 now, not to be outdone. Frankie Cordero nearly putting this one on Utah Street. The line drive homer makes it 4-2 for the Yanks. But you just can't outdo the Judge sometimes. Aaron Judge back at the plate. And really, why are people still pitching to this guy? Went dead center the first time, goes to left now. He takes the trot, and the Yanks take the game 5-3. It is a tradition unlike any other, and it was a final round unlike any other at Augusta National Golf Club and the Masters. Jon Rahm and Brooks Koepka in the final pairing, both looking for their first green jacket. Koepka at 11 under, Rahm at 9 under, with 18 holes between them and immortality. And the Spaniard would go on the attack first with a birdie at 3 to move to within 1 stroke of Brooks Koepka. A much-needed birdie early on in the round for him. On to the par 5 8th now. Rahm with a short wedge into this long, undulating green, and this one just sets up perfectly for the tap-in birdie, giving Rahm a 2-shot lead. He would bogey 9 to take the turn 1 under par on the day. Rahm picks up a birdie at the 13th hole. Here he is on the par 4 14th. From the second cut, plays this one onto the green and plays the hill, using the turns and tumbles of this famously tough Augusta green to set this one up for the birdie putt. Rahm played perfection on the back 9, and this is his reward. A par on 18 and a ticket to the Masters for the rest of his life. Jon Rahm has his green jacket. The win makes Rahm a 2-time major winner with his 2021 victory at the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines. And that's all the time we've got now for NCC Sports. On the other side of the break, a look at your weekend weather.